This is the C.A.N. World Factbook, sorta like the CIA World Factbook, only we don't have the power to hack your computer. Yet. In this segment, we'll be looking at the country with the fourth largest population of Spanish speakers, Spain. Wow, way to not even place on your own invention, hombres. The Kingdom of Spain is comprised of 17 autonomous communities, about half of which don't want to be a part of Spain anymore. And you thought Canada had it bad. Area, over 505,000 square kilometers, ranked 51st in the world, but 4th in Europe, which is really the only continent that counts. Hooray for Eurocentrism! Population, over 48 million, but it would probably be about half of that if you don't count the people taking a siesta right now. Countries it borders, a couple of nobodies, and almighty Andorra. All hail Andorra! Highest point, Mount Teide, elevation 3,718 meters. It is a volcano that could erupt at any minute and destroy the Canary Islands, which might make a certain putty tat very happy. Lowest point, that time they lost a war to the United States in less than 4 months. I'm talking pre-World Wars United States, when they really weren't that good yet. Pretty embarrassing, Spain. National heroes. El Cid, an 11th century military leader who helped the Spanish expand their kingdoms from Muslim-held territories. Miguel de Cervantes, a 17th century writer who authored the first modern novel in Don Quixote. And practically anyone who has worn this jersey. National anthem, Marcha Real, one of 4 national anthems in the world without official lyrics, which forces everyone to sing it like do 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 do. Largest exports, machinery, motor vehicles, pharmaceuticals, oranges, and soccer merchandise. Sorry, football merchandise. Popular landmarks for tourists, Alhambra, the Mosque of Cordoba, the Sagrada Familia, the beaches of San Sebastian, the Roman aqueduct of Segovia, and the sharp forehead of a bull in Pamplona. Fun fact, the Spanish cities of Ceuta and Melilla, north of Morocco, are the only European possessions left in Africa, which makes the 19th century architects of the scramble for Africa very sad. History time! Humans have been living in Spain for tens of thousands of years, as attested by this cave painting of a bison from around 15,000 BC, which is the precedent to the annoying 21st century practice of posting everything you ever ate on Instagram. The prehistoric inhabitants of Spain are known as Iberians, although they must have been too welcoming or too conquerable, as Spain would be ruled throughout its early history by Celts, Greeks, Carthaginians, Romans, Visigoths, and the Islamic Umayyad Caliphate. I like saying that. Umayyad. By the 11th century AD, the region would be divided between several kingdoms of Christian and Muslim faiths, which, as to be expected, did not get along very well. After a couple hundred years of more non-stop violence than a Rambo movie, 2 Christian kingdoms seized the upper hand, Castile and Aragon. There was also Portugal, but they'll need to be patient for their own entry into the C.A.N. World Factbook, which, at the rate I make these videos, might be published in time for your great-great-grandchildren to enjoy. Castile and Aragon joined forces with the marriage of their respective queen and king, Isabella and Ferdinand, in 1474, nominally creating a united Kingdom of Spain. Ferdinand and Isabella are also known for a few other things, like funding the voyages of that Cristoforo Colombo guy, as well as conquering the last Islamic stronghold in Western Europe. Unfortunately, they also initiated the Spanish Inquisition, which no one expected, when hundreds of thousands of Jews, Muslims, and Protestants were killed, imprisoned, exiled, or tortured in the comfy chair. Spain's prestige increased with the dawn of the Age of Exploration, and man did they explorate the heck out of the New World. Spanish conquistadors conquered Mesoamerican empires such as the Aztec and the Inca, using both their advanced weaponry and their icky European diseases. By the mid-17th century, the Spanish practically owned everything in the Americas from Texas on down, aka Hot America, and experienced a booming economy through the influx of gold, silver, and potatoes. Yes, potatoes are a big deal in history. Maybe I'll write about that someday. Or eat them. One or the other. Anywho, Spain also extended its reach into Europe as well, sharing its crown with the Holy Roman Empire until 1556 and Portugal until 1640. They also ruled Sicily and southern Italy, as well as the nether regions. No, not that. Those nether regions. This is also the period of Spain's golden age of culture, producing artists like Diego Velázquez and El Greco, composers like Cristobal de Morales and Tomás Luis de Victoria, and writers like Miguel de Cervantes and Lope de Vega, proving the Spanish were once cultured and civilized before football came around. Like any motion-sick kid on a salt and pepper ride knows, what goes up must come down. Though Spain was the most powerful kingdom in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries, they had a few hiccups, like the failed Spanish Armada, which was defeated more by Mother Nature than by Mother England, the 80 Years' War to prevent Dutch independence, which, if your war is old enough to collect Social Security and you lose, that's a problem, and a pandemic of bubonic plague that killed 10% of the population when the rest of Europe got over that sort of thing centuries ago. By 1700, they didn't have any heirs left to be king, and had to ask a French guy to take over the crown for them. Doesn't get more embarrassing than that. Yes, they still had their colonies overseas, but life as a typical Spanish peasant only got less pleasant and more peasant throughout the century. Another French guy, Napoleon, invaded in 1808 and put his brother Joseph on the Spanish throne. The Spanish needed help from the British in order to get their kingdom back, which isn't as embarrassing as it is annoying. Though rule in Spain was restored by 1814, they proceeded to lose most of their empire over the course of the next decade, thankfully keeping Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Of course, the United States proceeded to even take these territories away in 1898, leaving Spain with nothing more than a chunk of the Sahara. Yeah, 'cause that's what everybody wants. After a bunch of revolts and civil wars, which had Spain's government change more times than Madonna's accent, what came to be known as the official Spanish Civil War was fought between 1936 and 1939. In the end, military strongman Francisco Franco came out on top and ruled Spain as a dictator until 1975, despite making some unfortunate friends. It is believed that hundreds of thousands of people were killed, kidnapped, or put into concentration camps during Franco's rule, and even his tomb was made by forced labor. What a guy that Franco was! After his death, the Spanish monarchy was restored under King Juan Carlos, the most Spanish name ever, and a democratic form of government followed thereafter. Spain joined what would become the European Union in 1986 and adopted monopoly money, the euro, as its currency in 1999. Juan Carlos abdicated in 2014 and was replaced by his son, the current King Felipe VI. Ugh, I love saying Spanish names almost as much as Umayyad. While Spain might look like a united country, with lots of teamwork and all that, its recent history has been dominated by secession attempts. Various regions have voiced a need for increasing autonomy or independence from Spain, especially as Spain's economy tumbles quicker than Tiger Woods' reputation. The leading two autonomous communities who have been calling for more independence are Catalonia and the Basque Country, who point out how different their cultures, languages, and pastimes are compared to the rest of Spain. Seriously, what are Catalans doing here? Anyone really know? Andalusia, Aragon, Galicia, Valencia, and the Canary Islands have also protested and elected separatist politicians to represent them. If all of these regions were to secede from Spain, it would be cut nearly in half, with only the middle part of the country left. That would be like if all the states in the east and west left the Union, and the US would be mostly left with the rural areas. Well, at least one person would be alright with that. The Spanish government has often taken a hard line with these movements, and also tend to reject other secessionist nations around the world as well. So sorry Kosovo, your time will come. Just probably not in the C.A.N. World Factbook anytime soon. You understand. Thanks for watching this entry into the C.A.N. World Factbook. Check out my other videos in the series if you'd like to hear me rip nations like Canada a new one as well. You can also go to my webpage, where I have written histories to read to your heart's content. This includes Spain-related events, such as the Spanish Armada and the War of Jenkins' Ear, if you didn't get enough España for one day. Remember, Los que no estudian el pasado estén condenados, muy condenados.